Hello, welcome to today's lesson. Today, I want us to look at the CPU or the Central Processing Unit. So, CPU is short for Central Processing Unit. Now, the definition of the CPU is it's the main part of the computer that performs the calculations, makes decisions, and also it manages the flow of information. So CPU basically is like the brain of the computer, the part where everything is done. For your computer to do something, the CPU is involved. For a decision to be made in your computer, the CPU is involved. So whenever you click on an icon or you type a letter or play a game, usually the CPU is working behind the scenes to process those instructions to do whatever you want it to do. Now, this is the diagram of the CPU, whereby we have input devices and the CPU, and then the output devices. So the input devices usually are the ones that send information or data or instructions in the CPU, and the CPU works on that data and instructions and sends it outside to the output devices. So the CPU itself comprises of three components, as we can see from the diagram. We have the ALU, the control unit, and the memory unit. So ALU is arithmetic and logic unit, and the control unit, and the memory unit. Now, there are some functions of the CPU. So the CPU usually performs some core functions. Okay. So the first one is fetching, whereby the CPU collects instructions from memory or RAM, and decoding, where the CPU has to interpret what the instruction means. It cannot work on it if it does not know what that particular instruction means. So it has to decode the instruction in order to know what it should be doing with that instruction. After decoding, that is executing. So it carries out whatever command has been instructed. Okay, if it's adding numbers, moving data, or comparing values, it's going to do that. That is now basically what uh, happens inside a CPU. Fetching instructions from memory, decoding the instructions to know what they mean or what should be done to them, and executing those instructions, carrying out whatever command has been given in order to do the particular job that it's required to do. Now, the three components of the CPU are explained here. So the components of the CPU, the CPU itself is divided into three parts. We have the arithmetic logic unit. Now that's like the calculator of the computer. What this section of the CPU does is that it performs all the mathematical operations. There's addition, the subtraction, multiplication, etc. It's done inside the ALU, the arithmetic and logic unit. It also does the logical operations like comparing numbers, which one is greater than, which one is equal to which one, or which number is less than the other. That is the arithmetic and logic unit. We also have the control unit. The control unit is like the traffic controller. Okay, so this part of the CPU directs the flow of data and instructions inside the computer. It tells the memory, the ALU, input output devices what to do. So basically, it is the one that um, sends data to output devices or information to output devices. It also is the one that, uh, if maybe there's data required, it makes sure the data is it's transferred from memory to the CPU, or from the CPU to output devices, or maybe from the ALU to uh, registers and registers to memory. it coordinates everything that happens inside the CPU and also in generally inside the whole computer. We also have registers. Now, registers are small, high-speed storage locations inside the CPU. Now, these parts usually temporarily they hold data instruction that the CPU is currently working on. So if some data comes from the input devices, it's temporarily placed inside the registers before it's sent to the ALU for processing, or after it has been processed, the registers can also hold that information temporarily before it's sent out to the output devices, or maybe before it is saved inside the computer. All right, so that's what the CPU is, and its functions, and also its components. So the functions are fetching, decoding, and executing. These functions usually are usually known as the fetch execute cycle, because those functions usually are done over and over again. It fetches, decodes, executes, fetches, decodes, execute, fetches, decodes, execute, in that order. And the components of the CPU are the arithmetic and logic unit of ALU, which is the part that does the actual processing, the control unit, which directs the flow of data instructions at the computer, and also the registers, which are high-speed areas that store information or data temporarily as the CPU is working on. So that was all about the CPU. See you in the next one.